Hello darlings, and welcome to my very own brand new YouTube channel. I'm so delighted you could join me today. I'm so excited to be recording my very first video for the YouTube platform. Here on this channel you'll find three main things, one of which are cost-effective, easy to make recipes that anybody can do, particularly the time poor. I'll also be doing food reviews, and that will range from dirty guilty pleasures such as fast food drive-thrus right up to your fine dining kind of food. And finally, I'll have a segment on different gastronomical experiences. This is where I'll try food or beverages I've never had before and rate them for you on video. They'll come from all different cultures from all parts of the world. If this is the sort of thing that floats your boat, please consider subscribing and enable notifications so that you're aware of my future content. Oh, I do hope we can become friends. So darlings, without further ado, let's start today's recipe. Today, I'll be making one of my most favorite sweetie treats, chocolate truffles. This reminds me so much of my childhood, and best of all, it is ridiculously quick and easy to make. It's cheap to make, and most importantly, absolutely delicious. These also make for the most wonderful gift, and they travel really well. Won't you just look at those adorable little packages? So charming. To make this recipe, ensure you have the following ingredients. 250 grams of plain sweet biscuits. I'm using Arnott's Marie here, but you could use any brand so long as the biscuits are totally plain. Also, conversions to US measurements are shown at the bottom of the video, darlings. Half a cup of unsweetened desiccated coconut. 3 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, 395 grams of sweetened condensed milk. Ooh, just look at that sweet, gooey fountain so suggestively oozing out. Oh, I do love a little bit of kitchen titillation, darlings.
Okay.
Edible sprinkles. These are totally optional, and you only need enough to roll the truffles in. Salted peanuts, another optional ingredient to roll the truffles in. If you can find these already crushed, then I would recommend buying those, or at the very least using a food processor. The mortar and pestle was a complete pain in my rectum. Milo, the final optional ingredient to roll the truffles in. If you're in the US, Milo is available at Walmart. Or be creative and try Ovaltine or chocolate Nesquik. So the first thing you want to do is make your biscuits into a fine crumb. Now obviously the easiest way to do this is to pop them into a food processor, but if you don't have one, don't worry, just pop them into a bag and bash the living shit out of it with a rolling pin. This method works particularly well when thinking about an ex-partner or an ex-manager. Anyhow, I digress. Now to save time, I'll pop these through my food processor off camera and I shall be right back. Okay, so I've put my biscuits through the food processor, and this is what your biscuit crumb should look like. Nice and fine. The next step is to add your coconut, half a cup. And now we add the cocoa, 3 tablespoons. Now just give your dry ingredients a little bit of a mix before we add the wet ingredient. And now for the sweetened condensed milk. Oh, would you look at that? So luscious. Ooh. Give it a good mix. Okay, darlings, so when you've gotten to a certain point, you will need to start using your hands. I will ensure that mine are impeccably clean, so I'll just wash them now and be right back. Okay, darlings, I'm back with clean hands, and I also took a small break. The battery on my phone ended up getting very low, and I needed to charge it. Anywho, moving forward. Oh, by the way, while I was taking a break, I did give this a quick mix just to make sure that it did come together quite well, and it has. And now comes the time to assemble. This is the part, darlings, where you decide, do you like small balls or do you like big balls? I myself enjoy medium-sized balls, not too big, not too small. There really is no hard and fast rule here, so do as you please. Also, just quickly, before I do start to do that, I might transfer these onto a plate because I will want to roll them in the coatings. One moment. One thing I can tell you with these hundreds and thousands is they get absolutely everywhere, as you can clearly see. Anyway, before we begin the rolling process, I'll give you a small tip. Coconut oil. Place a little in the palms of your hands. Don't forget I have clean hands. Pop some on there, still moisturizing at the same time. And that will ensure that as you're rolling the balls, it doesn't stick to your hands too much. Okay. Sleeves up. And yes, darlings, before I do receive any comments, yes, I do have tattoos. In fact, I have a complete sleeve on this arm. I was a very rebellious girl in my younger years. Okay, so medium-sized balls. Just do it over the bowl. There we are, just like so. Look how cute. Okay, darlings, so now I'm going to continue rolling these out, coating them, and let's get started. There we are, darlings. After some rolling and rolling and a little bit of a cleanup, we have finished. Don't they look absolutely fabulous? These ones here in particular look very celebratory. Perhaps great for the kids or for the big kids. And these look like the gourmet type truffles, even though they're not gourmet. But they do look like it, don't they? Pop these in the refrigerator now for half an hour, and we shall taste after they're done. And now, darlings, now is the perfect opportunity for you to sit back, put your feet up, and relax for half an hour or so. Far too many people these days with their hectic lifestyles and schedules just don't take any time out of the day for themselves. And it's really, really important that you do that. I personally like to read or knit. You know, sometimes I might do a crossword puzzle. But in most cases, I like to have a small glass of wine. Yes, darlings, I do like a good sparkling wine. Although, this one does look a bit like beer, doesn't it? I do promise you it is a sparkling, though. It's a very odd-looking Prosecco. Anyhow, alcohol is alcohol, and since this is a food and beverage show of sorts, I should, I think, do a bit of a taste test for you. Okay, I can taste the grapes. Oh, it's bubbly. It's very celebratory. I like it. Oh. Oh. Okay, so here we are. The truffles have set. I have my wine. I'm ready to taste. So, I shall try these for you one by one. Bear in mind, the only ones that I've actually tried before are the original coconut. I've never had any of these ones. These were quite experimental for me today, so I'm quite excited to try those. So why don't we start with the original and work our way across and see which ones are the best. So here we go. I think the rule with these, darlings, is just to shove the whole thing in your mouth at once, or you might make a bit of a mess. Here we go. Mm. Mm. Oh, so good, darlings. The original is going to be hard to beat. I don't know how much better this could possibly get. It's the cocoa and the coconut combination. It's just so good. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, so in terms of appearance, these ones are by far the most playful, the most colourful, but I think these ones, the originals, are far better. Only because you've got this sweet truffle mixture, which we then coated in more sugar, so it ends up being rather too sweet for my palate. So I think the unsweetened coconut is better because obviously it's not so sweet. I need to cleanse the palate. So out of these two, the original wins. Let's go with the Milo. Oh. Now that is good. The flavor of the Milo goes really, really well with coconut. But I still think it's too overly sweet because Milo itself is sweet and so is the mixture. So I do think the original beats the Milo as well. Let's try this one. This was the peanut, by the way. Oh, yes, that is good. And I'll tell you why this one's especially good. Because you're not adding another sweet component to something that's already sweet. They are salted peanuts. So it's adding a layer of complexity on this one. It's adding saltiness with the sweetness. And I love salty sweet things. So this works really, really well. Ooh. As you can clearly see. So, the verdict. Okay, so the verdict is the original remains #1 still. That is my favorite, and I don't think the others have convinced me otherwise. Following closely behind is the peanuts at #2. I love the salty sweet. Then the Milo, then the hundreds and thousands. I just think these they're too sweet first and foremost. And whilst the hundreds and thousands are lovely to look at, they really don't impart any flavor. They're just sugar balls. They're just pretty much just sugar and food coloring. So it really doesn't do much for the palate. So darlings, that is all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. You know, this video was not perfect, but this is only the first video, so plenty more to come. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and leave me a comment. Do tell me if you've tried this recipe before or if you're going to try it. I would love to hear from you. And I hope to see you in my next video, darlings. Please take care and ta-ta for now.